Good morning, welcome back to Autism, Twins and Us. If you didn't see yesterday's video, well, it might not be yesterday when this comes out, but the video where we went to visit Grandad Barry, go and watch it. I was really happy with the video. I planned to video anyway when we went down there because we haven't seen him for a while, and I like making videos, obviously. But the bee thing was a total off the cuff. I didn't know it was going to happen, so I'm not going to say anymore. Go and watch it. If you haven't watched it, come back to this one. Today is Saturday. Amy is taking Matthew to Aldi to get George's muffins. He's basically last Friday, not yesterday, last Friday he made them in school and he put them in his bedroom on the floor, and yesterday I threw them away because they were rock hard. He's not going to eat them, but then obviously as soon as he came home and realised they were gone, that's all we heard, muffin, muffin, muffin. Amy got up and said she needed a Starbucks, so I was going to go with George to get them, but she wanted to go get a Starbucks herself, so she said she'll take Matthew and go and do it, so she's getting it. So I'm just doing the sort of household stuff, just hoovered. It's easier when there's less people here, right? And I can't do it when Amy was in bed this morning. Me and George were up early. But anyway, just hoovered. Amy put some washing on, so I'm putting that all through the dryer, putting another load of washing on, do all the school stuff. So big fun day ahead. But yeah, this video though, more than anything, I was speaking to Jeremy, who has been, I don't know how long he's been following the channel, quite a while, and I was speaking to him on WhatsApp, and I told him a story about when I think was, if it wasn't both of us, it was definitely when Amy, I think, had the realisation of when we knew our life was going to be totally different. I did tell Jeremy it was their 4th birthday, it wasn't, it was their 3rd. So basically, to cut a long story short, we thought, oh, it's their birthday, great, we'll go to Pennywell Farm, which is, if you're local to Devon or to the southwest, you'd know. It's like a farm, sort of petting zoo type, not a theme park, but there is a few, like, there's like a train and stuff like that, and some rides, small rides for kids, really for little ones. Anyway, we took them, they were 3, they were still in a buggy. By the time me and Amy went in, literally 10 minutes later, we were back in the car. They were both screaming, having meltdowns, both of them. Amy was crying, like, really uncontrollably crying, because I think the realisation that your life ain't ever going to be, like, you have these plans that you're going to have kids, you're going to do lovely little trips to Pennywell Farm, which we all went to as kids, right? So that's, I think, why that place. You normally go there, you hold little baby pigs, and, you know, you see the animals and stuff like that. We lasted literally 10 minutes, and it cost like 60 odd quid. And there's not criticism of them, it's just quite an expensive place to go. And 10 minutes later, we were back in the car. Amy was crying pretty much, I think she was crying pretty much the whole way home. And I think that's the kick in the teeth when they're only like 2 or 3 years old, whatever, they're the 3rd birthday. And that's kind of was the trigger to tell us your life ain't ever going to be normal, as in neurotypical, and doing lovely. Leave them alone, they're Winnie's toys. Leave them alone, they're Winnie's toys. He's trying to steal Winnie's toys, put them back. He keeps on taking those 2 toys up and putting them in his room. Put them back. He keeps, for some reason, Amy keeps getting them out of his room, bringing them back downstairs, and he keeps putting them back up. Anyway, back to the story. So yeah, I think the realisation that you're not going to ever be able to just go and have a normal day out and enjoy things, and the reason we got into that conversation with Jeremy, because I was talking about meeting up with him and a couple of the kids that he cares for, and my problem with doing that is 100% I want to go meet him and do stuff, but the problem is I could take George there, we could go to a beach that we both go to, he goes, so I go to. I've never met him there, but we were going to, like, for example, I could go there, me and George could be there 5 minutes and he's kicking off to go in the park, and then ice cream, then home. So I could go all the way there, drive like 45 minutes to get there roughly, and 10 minutes later be back in the car. And that is what it is like with everything. So ever making plans with family, friends, anything like that, it always puts that stress that you could end up being there 10 minutes. If I do it with both boys, Matthew can cope with things like that a lot better. He'd be happy, and then he's going to be annoyed that George is spoiling it, is what he will say, which not intentionally, but that is what is happening. So Matthew might want to really spend a lovely whole day at the beach. He just can't do that, because if I take him with George isn't going to last. If you're a family that have got autistic children, or a autistic child, or an autistic person in your family, or autistic twins, or just twins in general, or a singleton that's got autism, obviously we know that they vary massively. Like what Matthew can deal with, George can't deal with. Some things Matthew can deal with, George can deal with. Matthew can't deal with regard to noise, oversensitivity to noise, things like that. That doesn't affect George, which you think it would, but it doesn't. But Matthew is a massive factor. So when we plan any of these days out, we normally have to do like a risk assessment, like you would in a workplace. Is it safe? Where are the exit points? Where is it safe? Even when we've gone to soft plays, we have to watch George goes into the kitchens, into the staff areas. And even though it will say staff only, he doesn't pay any attention to that. Everywhere to George is access to him in his mind. You know, I could walk him, do a coastal path walk. I have to hold his hand the whole time, because he wouldn't see any risk in leaning over a 250-foot drop into the sea. He just hasn't got that awareness. I'm hoping one day he will have that awareness of danger more. Obviously, we try to teach him that. I teach him that every day with roads on the way to school. But if he was in like flight mode, he ain't paying any attention to danger. He's gone. He's running, risk to himself, risk to other people. So yeah, it was just more just to say, if you've got autistic children and you haven't come to that realisation, and I call it a grieving process. If you haven't gone through that grieving process where you then, or that realisation point where you go, our life's not ever going to be the same as everyone else's, and then you go through a grieving process. Once you get through that grieving process, life gets better. It's not easy, don't get me wrong. Life is not easy for us at all. But you've got to go through that grieving process to the family you thought you were going to have to what you've actually got. So that was my little rant for today, or not really a rant, but just to get you to understand that you've got to go through that, and you have to go through a grieving process of acceptance. And that's where autism acceptance comes in, autism awareness comes in. It takes a while to get to that point, that I wasn't going to be taking my kids to football games and playing football with them. And yes, I understand there's disability football clubs, things like that, but I'm just trying to make a point that the neurotypical idea what you have of being a dad, a family, going on outings, going to caravan parks, some people can do that. Some kids with autism can handle that, can deal with being away from home. For us, it's really difficult. That's why when we go to Poole, which is where Amy's from, and we stay with Jane, which we call Yaya, it's a few days. We can manage about 3 days, and that's because they love her anyway, and it's a little bit easier because it's familiar. Of course, to get familiar, you've got to push yourself out of boundaries, which we do try to do. Believe me, everything that you'll see us do. Last year we did Poulton's Park, Peppa Pig Land. We're going to go again in this summer. I think this summer will be even more successful, because last time we did have a lot of meltdowns in the park, or a couple of meltdowns, should I say, not loads, couple. I think this year we won't, because George has been there, he's accessed all the rides before, he sort of knows the park a bit in his mind. I'll show him a video beforehand, another reason we make videos. That will help him massively, and hopefully that'll be an even more successful day than it was last time. Last time was successful, but we had to put up with the meltdowns during the day. I'm hoping this time it'll be the same success, but without the meltdowns, without the screaming, kicking, scratching me, biting, headbutting. So if you're a parent and have got kids on the spectrum, if you're just found out your kid's diagnosed, without sounding harsh, take it as a reality. Your life is not going to be the same as everyone else's. It's going to be very, very different to that picture you have in your mind of what life's going to be like as a parent. Especially probably if you've got a neurotypical child prior to having autistic children. I didn't have any children before these two, but I did have 5 younger sisters, so I know what neurotypical's like, and it's a big difference. So buckle up for the ride, because if you're like us, it's going to be fast paced, all over the place, unpredictable, bends and curves everywhere. It's like a race with the wrong tyres on. That's probably the best way to describe it. But anyway, I'm going to finish up cleaning up so that when Amy comes back it's nice and tidy, and we'll catch up a bit later. Maybe I'll get Amy's perspective on the Pennywell farm, and we'll see what she says about it. There she is.
Lovely.
With what drink is it? Right, George, hang on.
Tiramisu cream iced latte.
But they didn't put any ice in it.
No, sorry.
What did he do with his muffins, meal?
Took him straight up into his bedroom, never to be seen again.
What did I just say to him? Are you going to eat them?
No.
Would you agree that the Pennywell was a lovely day out when we did it? And what's your remembrance of it? Because I did a very quick what it did to me, what it meant to me. What would you say it did to you?
Broke me.
Do you remember crying all the whole way home?
I remember walking back to the car with them crying, and one of the staff said, "Oh no, is everything okay?" And she said, "Do you want some tickets to come back another day for free?" And I was like, no, it's alright. We just got in the car and left.
Because if I remember rightly, if you go when it's raining there, they give you free tickets within a week, don't they, to return? And I think that's one of their things has always been a thing, but
I think
this wasn't that, was it? It was something's wrong, can we out before you complain? Or
I think what annoyed me the most that day as well was that we expected to be there pretty much all day, so we told nursery they're not going to be in, and then we were back in and...
not before they went to... Yeah, because they were still doing 11 o'clock at that point or something like that.
To me, it brought a whole new meaning to the word shit show, because it was awful. I hated it.
Well, I think it got to a point where that was... we're not going to be able to do stuff that normal families can do. Yeah. What we thought it was going to be like being parents. Even though we had twins, we thought, well, it'd be alright. Obviously, once you get past baby stage, it'll be easy then. Taking them out, doing stuff, and that was the realisation that we're not going to be doing that easily.
I mean, don't get me wrong, one of the main realisations for me was when we went to see the NICU consultant on their first birthday.
George, turn it down.
On their first birthday, and George was climbing on the desk and hanging off the sink and everything, and I remember looking at Giles and saying, "That's not right. There's something definitely not right. Like, they don't stop and all this sort of stuff." And then they were like, well, so the suggestion of autism was brought up quickly.
Yeah, way before anyone else would, because they were in the paediatric care.
Yeah, so I think the realisation for me, I knew that something wasn't quite right. And then on their first year NICU check with their consultant, he agreed, and then I thought, oh shit, yeah, this is real.
But we knew nothing about it then, really.
No.
But what I'm saying is, even though then when they said, right, we knew that something wasn't quite normal or right or neurotypical, by the time that it got to that third birthday, that was, to me, the day where it was like, you ain't doing normal stuff, what normal people do, normal families do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm on about. I don't mean you and me didn't realise they were autistic before that. I mean, that was a realisation that I wasn't going to be taking them to go watch Argyle every week, and taking them to football teams, and taking them to play tennis, and going to water parks and doing all these things easily.
And don't get me wrong, even though now they're 11, anytime there's a suggestion of, oh, let's do this, for example, it fills me with dread. Because
you're worried about what's going to happen.
Even if they're good, like if he's stimming and stuff, then people are looking, and I've never been the sort of person that wants to stand out for any positive or negative reason. But you know that whatever we try and do, we're always going to stand out because of how they behave, and it fills me with dread, you know, wanting to just curl up in a ball and die. And then
I'm carrying an 11-year-old.
You're carrying one, and then I've got another one next to me who's like moaning about something, or it's too loud, or, you know. And,
yeah, I did mention that earlier, actually.
And like when we went to Portons Park last year with Jane, when you took them on the pirate ship, and I was having a breakdown, and Jane, bless her heart, was trying to be really positive. me, I'm just like, can you just let me be negative for a minute, because I hate this. I hate it. Any other family could be out having a positive experience and a positive day, and although for the few seconds that he's on a ride, for example, he loves it, everything in between is a living nightmare. That's the only way
I
I put
did
it.
I did say actually about the Poltons last year that it was positive, but it was really difficult, right? Really difficult. But I think this year it's going to be positive, but hopefully without the so much difficulty because he's been there. I think that's going to be the difference. Well, we're going to find out.
I just think you're mad for wanting to do it again.
Three vegetables.
Well,
Please,
Do you
no.
not agree? Like, why?
I think because
One greens, 2 fruits, and 3 vegetables.
good.
Please have an argument about the comment section below.
Like, to me, right, the only time I'd want to go anywhere theme park wise, like Woodlands, Creeley, Polton's Park, anywhere like that, was if I won
George.
an obscene amount of money on the lottery and then could ring them up and say, I want to hire the whole park for the day, just us, right?
I'm not in your way.
To me, that's the only time that I would want to put myself through something like that, because apart from the staff, there would be no one there.
See, the way I look at it is, I know that we managed the Poltons last year.
I was ruined.
Yeah, I know you were, but
No.
I think this year, because he knows the part, it's going to be a big difference. I'm trying to be positive on it. It's got to be, and I'm not going to let it beat me. He did really enjoy it, and he has been asking to go back, and he has been bringing up the old video, so he knows the park now. So last time, we were taking him around the park that had hundreds of rides, and him not knowing why we were taking him off, like, one thing and putting him on another, like, or not knowing what the next thing was. Now he's going to know that. That's why we're going to do it again. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be difficult, but this is what I'm saying, you can't let it beat you. I'm not letting it beat me anyway, but it'll be a difficult day. But what we'll do is, when we do that day, after that video, I'll make a video that day, hopefully. After that video, we'll do a sit down in the evening and say the difference on the year before. So hopefully we can see a progression in how we've dealt with it. So we'll see.
I just heard what you said. You were like, I won't let it beat me. I won't let it. It beats me every time. Every time. And I swear every time that I will never ever do it again. And then you come up with this great idea. And then, you know, at some point during the day, we're attacking each other. Not physically, but verbally. We're attacking each other. And we both want to jump off the nearest cliff. And then somehow we get through it, and then we get home and we are absolutely knackered, and then you'll go, well, I think that was alright, and I think you're mad.
But what I would say is, you think about it, right? What's the alternative? We could sit home all day, every day our life, and then not going to experience anything. And what's going to happen, in all honesty, what's going to happen in the future, he's not going to, mainly it's George, isn't it, right? He's not going to be able to access the world, ain't going to be able to do anything. Let me just see what he wants.
It's so hard.
So, if we didn't do this stuff, he's not accessing the world, he's not getting to experience all these things. And he wants experience, doesn't he? When he brings up videos on YouTube, look at this, let's go here. CBeebies Land, he keeps bringing up.
Yeah.
And Amy's like, let's go there. I'm like, nah, because it's a whole new place he's not been to. That'd be 10 times harder than what we're going to do at Polton's Park, because he's been 100 times harder.
I'm just surprised that you want to do Polton's Park
I
again.
loved it, but I didn't look. What I'm saying, I loved it because when he's on those rides, right, for that 3 minutes of a ride, you never see him so free, happy, right?
No, I know that.
And for me, I think that first time is the worst. So the second time, he knows that map now of the park, like the map, like he remembers everything, right?
Yeah.
So he'll know where every ride is. He'll decide what ones he wants to go on. Like you said the other day, he'll go straight to that back left corner.
Yeah.
Where the blue roller coaster was,
Yeah.
the one where it made Jane sick.
Yeah. That was
Right?
brilliant.
So he will be way happier there. He's still going to be, difficult to handle in a lot of ways, but not like he was last time, where he was kicking off every time we took him off a ride to go to the next one. So my thing is, If you don't
We're
succeed,
never going to agree on it.
try
I
and
would
try
like
again.
I would like to stay indoors 24/7 and never have to face any outdoor challenges. You would rather be out all the time, and sort of. So we have to do it as a family unit, and I hate it,
But
and
what-
you power through. I have a breakdown, and then
But what do you think's better for them in the long run?
Oh.
In all honesty,
oh come on, yeah, but what's better for us? We're human beings with feelings
We're
and
managing.
limits, and
we're managing. We can do it. You can do it.
oh
It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy
no.
at all. But everything we've done it, and I don't regret doing them afterwards.
Yeah, but we've done it. But at what cost to our relationship?
Oh, we're all right. We're survivors. Come on, we're not doing bad. Are we doing bad or not? Be honest.
No, but then let's face it. I think a harsh reality of the reason that we haven't split up is because that we wouldn't be able to do it individually.
That's the reason why I'm neutral.
We're better off staying together to do it as a team because
Is that a compliment? I don't think that's a compliment at
it
all.
is a compliment because we can.
Well, I can't
we
do it on
can
my own.
it-
That's why I'm with
No,
you.
I mean it's a compliment that we're aware that we're doing it as a team.
Teamwork makes dream work.
Doesn't make dream work though, does it? It makes breakdowns and FND and suspected heart attacks.
We're all right. Keep powering through.
I love to power through. It's the best part of my day.